Breaking news! Good news and bad news for the Chiefs. Yes, my friends. Things are heating up behind the scenes. And without wasting any time, I'm going to tell you all about it. The Chiefs' offensive line has been a major concern, and now that Smith is about to hit free agency, things could get even more complicated. A big change could be on the horizon, and the Chiefs need to pay attention. Before I tell you all the details of this and other updates, make sure you've already hit the like button, but only do so if you're a true Chiefs fan. If possible, write something like, "Go Chiefs! Let's go to the Super Bowl." I make a point of saying this every time, because no one gets where they don't believe they can. Let's talk about Trey Smith. He's arguably the best offensive lineman the Chiefs have, and unfortunately, that means he's going to command a high price on the open market. And here's the thing, according to Pro Football Network's Ben Rolfe, Smith could command a contract worth nearly $20 million per year, maybe even more. Now, let's put that in perspective. The Chiefs don't have a ton of cap space to work with. Sure, the recent salary cap increase gives them some breathing room, but if Kansas City locks Smith up to a big deal, it could mean saying goodbye to other key free agents or missing out on potential upgrades at other positions. Is Smith worth the investment? That's the big question. Rolfe's analysis suggests Smith's deal could be in the 4 or 5 year range, meaning we're looking at a contract north of $80 to $100 million. And if multiple teams enter a bidding war for his services, it wouldn't be shocking to see him crack the $21 million per year mark. Landon Dickerson's deal set the bar, and Smith could potentially elevate it. But here's something else to consider. While Smith has been a rock for Kansas City, his playoff performance hasn't exactly been elite. So the Chiefs have a tough decision ahead of them. Do they commit to him long-term and risk losing the flexibility in free agency, or do they let him go and try to find a replacement at a lower cost? Either way, the impact will be felt next season. We've seen what happens when the Chiefs don't have a strong offensive line. Patrick Mahomes needs protection, and losing a guy like Smith would put even more pressure on the front office to fill that void. The team has dealt with offensive line struggles in the past, and if history tells us anything, it's that protecting Mahomes should be the top priority. So what do you think, Chiefs fans? Should the team do whatever it takes to keep Trey Smith, or should they let him test free agency and use that money elsewhere? Now, let's talk about Travis Kelce's future with the Chiefs, because trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So here's the deal. Travis Kelce has 1 year left on his contract, and according to Chiefs GM Brett Veach, he's expected to play out that final year. Now, we all know emotions were running high after that tough 40-22 loss to the Eagles in Super Bowl 59, and Kelce himself has admitted he's considering retirement. But the Chiefs? They're planning on him coming back, and Veach has made that clear. He has 1 more year on his contract. We came away from the conversation thinking he would come back, and we're excited to have him back, Veach said. To me, there's no timetable on that decision. That's a huge statement because it means the Chiefs are leaving the door open for Kelce to take his time before making anything official. At 35, Kelce has been through it all. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a future Hall of Famer, and yes, he's also been living the high life off the field with Taylor Swift. But despite all of that, sources within the organization say Kelce entered this offseason with a strong mindset about continuing to play. Coach Andy Reid also weighed in on the situation, saying, "We had a conversation before the guys left. It's up to him. Right now, the focus is on getting some rest. These guys have played a lot of football the last few years, so it's time to take a step back and then we'll talk again." That makes sense, right? The Chiefs have been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, and Kelce has been a key part of each run. But let's be real, this past season wasn't his best statistically. From 2016 to 2022, he had 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, but in 2024, those numbers dropped to 823 yards on 97 receptions, his lowest total since 2014. Some are wondering if the number of consecutive deep runs in the playoffs is finally catching up with him. Kelce addressed this concern on his podcast, New Heights, saying he understands the physical demands of the game but won't make any hasty decisions about his future. This is classic Kelce, taking his time, weighing his options and making sure he's fully ready before committing to another grueling NFL season. So now, the big question for you, Chiefs fans, what do you think? Will we see Travis Kelce suit up for one last run in Kansas City, or do you believe he's leaning toward retirement? Now, let's talk about a potential blockbuster move Kansas City could make to bolster its defensive line. The Chiefs just saw firsthand how dominant a strong defensive line can be in the Super Bowl, while the Philadelphia Eagles have taken control of the trenches. With stars like Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, and Jordan Davis leading the way, Philly has proven that investing in the defensive front can be the difference between winning and losing on the biggest stage. Now, Kansas City needs to find a way to respond this offseason. Chris Jones and George Karlaftis give the Chiefs one of the best defensive foundations in the league, but there are questions ahead of free agency. Charles Omenihu and Tershawn Wharton are set to hit the open market, which means Kansas City could need reinforcements. And guess what? They could have the perfect opportunity to sign an elite defender. According to ESPN's Jordan Schultz, the Washington Commanders have given two-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Jonathan Allen permission to seek a trade. At just 30 years old, Allen has 1 year remaining on his contract with a salary cap hit of over $22 million. It appears Washington is headed in a different direction, and that could open the door for the Chiefs to make a big move. Allen only played in 8 games last season due to injury, but let's not forget his consistency over the years. He's had 6 consecutive seasons with at least 15 games played and has racked up 25 sacks over the last 4 years. His presence on the interior could be just what the Chiefs need alongside Chris Jones to keep opposing offenses on their toes. Now, let's be real, this wouldn't be a cheap move. Allen's performance in 2024 wasn't up to his usual standard, as he ranked 119th out of 219 qualified interior defensive linemen, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not ideal for a player with a hefty salary cap. But if you're Brett Veach, would you take the chance? The Chiefs have been aggressive in the past, and with the championship window wide open, it might be worth making a bold move to solidify the trenches. The bottom line is this: Kansas City can't afford to ignore the defensive line. The Eagles aren't going anywhere, and if the Chiefs want to get back to the Super Bowl next season, they need to be prepared for another battle in the trenches. Whether that means trading for someone like Allen or looking to draft, something has to be done. So now, Chiefs fans, I want to hear from you. Should Kansas City trade for Jonathan Allen, or is there another move you'd rather see them make? Leave your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And before you go, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update on your Chiefs. We'll break down every trade, every signing, and every big decision that comes out of Kansas City. See you next time.